we go back to last Monday, and I mean, bro, we go throughout the entire show, and he looks like Vince's little, you know what?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of Writing with Russo. Vince Russo, how are you doing, my man?
I am doing all right, Chris. How are you?
I am doing. I'm a little technologically flustered. You buy all the new expensive stuff, but it means nothing if you can't put it together. But what is put together well is you and I, and we're going to have a great time just like we do every single time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So this week we're going to talk about Austin Theory.
Before we talk about Austin Theory, could I ask you one question as a psychologist? As a psychologist, I'm going to ask you to put on your psychologist suit.
All right.
Okay. Let's role play for a minute.
Let's do it.
You are a professional wrestler.
Okay.
You are in the middle of a match.
All right.
What's your lovely wife's name again?
Tiffany.
Okay, Tiffany. The lovely Tiffany comes down ringside.
Mm-hmm.
The lovely Tiffany sees a table ringside.
Mm-hmm.
The lovely Tiffany covers the table in lighter fluid and sets it afire. The lovely Tiffany orders you to drive your opponent through the flaming table, which means you go through the flaming table. Do you divorce your wife the next day? That's my question.
I would not, but we would definitely have a very tough conversation.
Who would be on the couch, you or her?
She would be probably on our bed a little with like a pillow in the middle or something like that. I wouldn't put her on the couch.
Okay.
But I wouldn't it wouldn't be as embracing as normal.
I'm just curious because if I was involved in a match and my wife came down and ordered me to put myself through a flaming, we'd be divorced the next day. I just want for the record, I just want to put that out there.
You're getting your papers the next day.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But we're going to talk about Austin Theory, baby.
Austin Theory, baby. Yes. And so Austin Theory, he's a young guy, very young guy in his 20s, in his early 20s. Austin Theory now actually is he is 24, 25 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Very young.
Young guy. And so he is someone who has made a name for himself early in the business, early in the game. He was Evolve. He was champion there. He had like the two biggest belts and even had them simultaneously, I believe. And so, he had a whole bunch of charisma. This oozed charisma. He was one of those people who, even early in his tenure, he had what it took. He had what it took to be a star, to have that really smug heel type of feel to him. Even had an interaction with John Cena, and that's how popular he became. So this type of this fanfare, I guess popularity. Now, he was a heel, so he didn't necessarily have fanfare, but he was very popular. This led him to a spot on NXT. So he was by himself, and then he had a couple moments, but not really. And he didn't really become like a big star in NXT. But somehow he had to Vince McMahon must have just saw him in passing. Triple H might have gave him a roster of people and said, hey, this is the roster of NXT, and these are the people who I work with. And Vince McMahon probably looked at the paper and said, oh, who's that guy? And he said, Austin Theory, bring him up to the main roster. And so I doubt that any of this happened, but it seems like this is something that would happen in Vince McMahon world. And so he actually ended up coming up to the main roster during WrestleMania time in 2020, teaming up and being in a match at at WrestleMania. So that actually didn't really lead him much. He was with Andrade and Vega. That didn't really lead him anywhere. He got kicked out of there. And so then he gets to a point of teaming up and being a lackey for Seth Rollins, being in the he was the Monday Night Messiah. He was one of his lackeys, along with Buddy Murphy, now Buddy Matthews. So that lasted for a little bit, and then he gets kicked out of that, and then he goes back down to NXT and tries to revive his character by himself. That really didn't make a difference. Then he starts teaming up as kind of a lackey with Johnny Gargano down in NXT and his wife, Candice LeRae. And so, yeah, I mean, that helped a little bit. And so that was probably his best part of his WWE tenure, was being with them. They call themselves The Way. And somehow he really didn't still make like break any type of ceilings with The Way. But somehow his time in NXT led him to all of a sudden, once again, get a main roster spot, and came with the photography, the selfies, Jeff Hardy. He's just beating up people, Mysterio. And for some reason now he is someone who is the protege of Vince McMahon. I don't know where this is going to lead, Vince Russo. What do you think?
Wow.
Vince McMahon has a thing for Austins, and so maybe they'll take that somewhere.
I don't know if it's that he's got a thing for Austins, or it's 76 years old. Does he think Austin Theory is Steve Austin? Maybe he's a little confused in the head, bro.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Bro, here's the bottom line. Everything you said about the Evolve and all that stuff. Okay, all that stuff that you said about he was over and he had 2 belts and this and that. Bro, there ain't one casual fan that knows any of that, including myself.
Correct.
The only presentation I know of Austin Theory is what I've seen on WWE programming, not NXT, not Evolve, not any of this stuff. What I've seen on WWE programming.
Yes.
Now think about it, bro. Just what you laid out, the stop, the starts, the stop, the starts, the stop, the starts. Bro, you've started with the guy in a huge hole. Yes. In a huge hole, bro, because if you are a bona fide superstar, you're a bona fide superstar out of the gate. Now, one thing that's missing, Chris, dramatically, and I don't know if it's laziness, I would love to hear an explanation for this. The vignette, bro. The vignette, the build-up, the 6 to 8 week build-up before we even see this person. So now you're anticipating seeing that person. Right. So not only did he have none of that, but he's already had 2 start and stop. Yep. So he is coming in, handicapped, bro. Yeah. And again, it's got nothing to do with Austin Aries, but then again, it does, because we go back to last Monday, and I mean, bro, we go throughout the entire show, and he looks like Vince's little, you know what? Lackey. I mean, Vince is insulting him the entire night, and it ends with Vince slapping him right across the face. Bro, I don't care where they go from here. Yeah. You've already buried the guy. I don't know why any of that went down that way. But I mean, my gosh, bro, this guy is starting in a tremendous, tremendous hole.
I agree. And again, it goes back to, why are you bringing him to the main roster if he was doing decently in NXT? And if you bring him to the main roster, like you said, I was thinking the same thing, Vince. You gotta, who knows this guy?
Right. I don't.
Casuals don't know this guy.
No.
Hardcore fans do. And Austin Theory is a good heel. He's a good character. And I see him now, and I'm like, man, he's being so underutilized. He's not being booked to his potential right now.